We are talking recovery weeks in this video, and I want to help you use recovery weeks more strategically so that you can obviously recover better, but also, and more importantly, adapt better to your training so that you can be a stronger runner, a faster runner, a runner who's far less injury prone, so that when it comes time to lining up on the line on race day, you know that you're more confident, you know that you have a better likelihood of hitting that PR, and you're gonna be healthy doing it. So what are recovery weeks? Recovery weeks are simply strategic rest weeks that you build into your training cycle so that you are running less, the intensity of your training is less, and you get more recovery, more adaptation out of that week because you're almost taking a little bit of a vacation from your training. And these recovery weeks are really important for runners who are pushing the envelope. So if you are running a lot, if you are trying to hit weekly mileage PRs, if you're doing really hard workouts, or you're just in the throes of hard training, like you're getting ready for a marathon, recovery weeks can be a really integral part of your training strategy to make sure that you survive the entire training cycle and you do it so that you are actually adapting to all that hard work. Because if you don't, you're gonna risk overtraining, you're gonna risk burnout, and that's not what we want. So if you are wondering whether or not you should start incorporating recovery weeks into your training cycle, the number one thing to look for is, well, am I actually working really hard right now? If you are not training hard, you probably don't really need recovery weeks, and you can skip to the next video. But if you are training really hard, if you are pushing the envelope, if you're pushing yourself, then recovery weeks are really important for your overall development as a runner. So then the next question becomes, well, how often should I incorporate these recovery weeks into my training cycle? I tend to think runners don't need them all the time, but if you have maybe a 16-week training cycle, it'd be a good idea to include maybe 2 recovery weeks evenly spread out during this training cycle to give you a little bit of a break from your hard training. And when you do start using recovery weeks, there's a couple things to remember. Number one, let's make sure that we're reducing our weekly mileage by maybe about 20 to 30%. We don't need an enormous reduction in mileage of maybe 50% or more. That's a little bit overkill. We still want our bodies to be running. We just want to do a little bit less. So somewhere in the range of 20 to 30% is a good baseline to start from. Now, the other side to this coin is we want to make your training easy, not just from a volume perspective, but also from an intensity perspective. So if you're doing 2 hard workouts per week, let's bring that down to 1 hard workout per week in your recovery week, and let's make it a little bit easier so that you're really giving yourself a lot more opportunity for recovery during this very special week. Your long run is another workout that we should probably reduce slightly in a recovery week. And I like to do something a little bit different here and cut the long run by maybe 2 to 5 miles, but include a little bit of quality running. I think the total stress of this kind of long run is very comparable to a normal distance long run and is likely a little bit less, even though there's a little bit of faster running in there, maybe a short fartlek at 10K pace. Maybe you're doing 2 to 5 miles at a half marathon pace or a goal marathon pace. These workouts are incredibly challenging, and when we couple them with a shorter long run, they're really not too hard at all. But they give us a little bit more opportunity to practice a different type of long run, and that can be very beneficial during a recovery week. Now, one of the reasons why we want to not only cut our volume, make our workouts easier, maybe make our workouts a little bit different. So if you're doing tempo runs, let's do a hill workout. If you're doing a lot of marathon pace work, let's do a fartlek. If you're doing just easy long runs, let's maybe throw a short, relatively easy fartlek or some marathon pace running into your long run. Why are we doing these things? Number one is to make your week easier. But number two, we want to do this for psychological reasons as well, because the real goal of a recovery week isn't just physical. Yes, that's important. Yes, we want to make sure that your body isn't carrying around any undue fatigue or soreness. We want to make sure that you're actually recovering and adapting to all that hard work. But we need to make sure that you are staying mentally driven ambitious, and motivated. A great way to do that is to take a short recovery week and take a little bit of a break from training so hard. Because the real goal at the end of a training week is not only to feel better physically, but to feel more mentally refreshed so that you can better psychologically engage with your training. And that is how you stay motivated for a very long period of time. It's how you stick with your training. It's how you stay driven to keep achieving more and more. And by the end of that recovery week, you should be itching to get back onto some more challenging training. And if you are, then you know you've done the recovery week right. Oh, hey, you caught me after a run doing some real pro recovery over here. And I want to talk to you about our new sponsor, Gnarly Nutrition. They're doing some great things for athletes, and I'm super excited to partner with them. They have some of my favorite nutrition supplements for runners, including a great pre-workout that I like because it has no caffeine and it gives you a nice little boost without the jitteriness of caffeine. Also, branched chain amino acids. I love taking these after a really hard run or a really long run where I know that there needs to be some substantial muscle recovery. And then finally, whey grass-fed protein shake. If you get the chocolate flavor, you are going to have, hands down, my favorite chocolate whey protein powder of all time. It is the tastiest protein powder you can find. I am a big fan of Gnarly Nutrition because this is a company of, by, and for runners. Their team is made up of mountain athletes and endurance runners. They know what it takes to fuel and to recover from all that running. Not only that, but all of their products are NSF certified. That means they're clean for safe sport. So if you're competing and you want to make sure that there's no banned substances in your products, or you just want to make sure that everything that's in the label is what you're ingesting, nothing else, it's great to look for that NSF label. And all their products come in these great tin tubs. So that means you're not having any extra plastic waste. So thank you, Gnarly Nutrition, for sponsoring our video channel. Go to gognarly.com, use code GNARLY20, and you'll save 20% off. Now, recovery weeks aren't just about what you do with your running. Now, of course, that's the most important part. Let's reduce your volume. Let's do a different type of long run, shorter, of course, and let's do a shorter but different type of workout. Those are all very important for the physical side of things and also your psychology. But there are other things you can do to really optimize a recovery week and make sure you're getting as much out of it as possible. So what are those things? Number one, well, if the goal of this week is recovery, let's not add a bunch of other stressful things to your plate during a recovery week. This is not the time to take on huge projects at home that might be either mentally or physically demanding. And let's really optimize for sleep this week. We are hoping for more recovery, right? So if we can just add just a couple more nights of really great sleep, we are gonna further really drive that recovery process and make sure that when we do start hard training the following week, we are as ready as possible. Now, it can also be really helpful to do other things as well, like do a couple very relaxing things, not just mentally, but also physically. So that could include hanging out with some friends that you haven't seen for a while, to have some great conversations and really just relax and connect with friends. You could also go get a massage, which is very relaxing and also has some physical benefits as well. And so if you understand the recovery week as a week to rest, a week to recharge, a week to de-stress and really focus on your mental and physical recovery, you're gonna get as much out of this week as possible. And you're gonna be a much better runner for it at the end of the day. So I hope this video was helpful as you plan your upcoming summer and fall seasons. And if you need help, we have a season planner worksheet at Strength Running that you can download for free, and it'll help you figure out the optimal length of your season, the best tune-up races to schedule for whatever goal race that you might have, and also when you should schedule those tune-up races, and a couple more really helpful details. So I'll put a link here on the screen and also underneath this video. I hope you find it helpful.